Okay, so I work on Sundays because where the people need me, I will show. So I thought before things kick off in the clinic, I might get into these kind of live broadcasts for a while. I appreciate I will probably be talking to no one for quite a while, but that's fine because as far as I can see, you can watch these afterwards, and maybe if it's a regular Sunday morning thing, people might ask what they want to hear about. People might put something in the comments. People might just say go away and stop just joining the huge list of people doing these videos. But anyway, the opportunity arose, so here I am. I'm in the clinic in Studio 57 in Hove. In fact, behind us you can see the wonderful team of therapists we've got. Dun, dun, dun. This isn't a marketing video, by the way. I just noticed all these photos of the team are there. So here I am. So I thought I've called this Thoughts from Kenya because some of you will know already that I've had the fantastic experience of being in Kenya for the last week or so. I've been over there helping set up a new running, what should we call it? It's going to have a bit of everything. It's got coaching, it's got gait analysis, it will sell shoes, it will have links with local physios. So yeah, great new team there. It's a great idea which will be serving what's from Nairobi, and it will be serving pretty much the whole of East Africa, because they're, well, this is the thing, this is what I wanted to talk about, misconceptions. There are so many misconceptions we've got about Africa in general. I now understand how damning the "Do They Know It's Christmas Time" song really was. I remember reading about that a while ago and thinking, oh, come on, stop being so PC, it's just a song. But the lyrics of the song just perpetuate this myth we've got, added to by the media, that Africa is just a land of drought and famine, and nothing will grow in Africa, and it's ridiculous. It's unfortunately once again the Western world just giving us a totally wrong impression of the countries which we once put a flag in and said, this is a flag, this is ours. So anyway, for example, one of my big misconceptions, and probably some of yours, is that all Kenyans are fantastic runners. In fact, I remember the guy who's organising it, George Parks, saying, oh Matt, make sure you bring some running gear, we'll go out running on Saturday morning. And I was like, okay George, just checking what sort of pace these people are training for a marathon in Nairobi. What sort of pace are they going to be running? Because I'm no spring chicken now. I'll run, but I thought I was going to be keeping up with your Kipchoks and the Mary Katanis, and he assured me no, that it's a beginner couch to 5k kind of run. And that, when I got there, I was still nervous, but I realised that Kenya, you're not naturally an incredible runner just because you're born in Kenya. And thinking about it now, well, that was ridiculous. It's one of these images we've got of worlds which we know so little about. The Kenyan running scene is probably where we were in the 80s, 90s. People are just starting to realise that running can be a great way of socialising, keeping fit. The main problem they've got over there is they haven't really got many places to run. Either it's not safe, or the surfaces are not very suitable. So this new site that's been set up in Gigiri in Nairobi is right next to the big, can't remember the name of the park now, it's gone, Kahuru Park. So anyway, it's a great location. So one of my jobs of going over there, as always, a little bit of myth busting. It was training this team and how best to help runners using gait analysis, but there came the main point of it. Obviously we have gait analysis here at Strides UK in Studio 57, but one of my main goals was to show this new team that gait analysis by itself, i.e. putting someone on a treadmill and watching how they run, is pretty useless. It won't tell you anything. Okay, it'll show you lots. And I mean, we use, and the new place is using Motion Metrics, which is a fantastic new piece of kit with depth sensing cameras, and it picks up the forces and the moments and the torques and all this fantastic information. But it all depends on your interpretation. Okay, it's a useless piece of kit unless you do a couple of things. And this is what most of the workshop I gave was made up of. So before you even put someone on a treadmill, there's two factors, two for the video, that are huge, that you have to do, otherwise the treadmill is a waste of time. So the first one is your case history. Okay, so hopefully physio, sports therapists, osteopaths, chiropractors, all healthcare professionals will realise that the case history is the most important part of any consultation. Okay, without that, you're just going to jump down or jump through I was going to say a field, let's say a lake of red herrings. Herrings seawater or fresh water? You're going to jump through a water expanse of red herrings. You need your case history. Otherwise, the assumptions are just going to come pouring out of your mouth, and you're going to give your client false claims, false exercises, false running drills based on nothing but what you've read in the textbook. So we did a lot on the workshop. Before even getting on the treadmill, we did a lot on case histories. And that's not just a medical questionnaire, obviously that's important, but it's finding out about the client's running history, their goals, what their perceptions are of maybe why they're in pain or why they're not getting their PBs. You really can't rush a case history. This is your opportunity to turn the runner into an individual. Okay, and until you treat them as an individual rather than an iliotibial pain or a runner's knee or a sprained ankle or a lower back pain, until you turn them actually into a whole individual via the case history, then you really don't know what's going on. It helps get you out of that structural, traditional way we've all been brought up on into actually treating the person in front of you instead of the running injury or the running obstacle in front of you. So we spent a long time on case history, and then they said, oh, can we go on the treadmill now? And I was like, no, not yet. First we need to now do the physical assessment. Because if you see someone on the treadmill and it looks like they're not getting much, let's say hip extension, you can't assume that they haven't got that hip extension. Okay, because what happens on the treadmill is not, once again, necessarily going to be the result of structural problems or issues. Okay, a lot of it may be just a habit. Okay, we think running comes naturally, but it doesn't. It's like everything else. It's something which we will do based on what we've seen, what we've read, what we've been told. The brain and nervous system will make probably choices which follow the easiest path, the best way to get the job done now. But if you're planning on running a long distance or taking up the speed, then like anything, it's a skill, and you may well have to learn a different way of doing it. So anyway, the physical assessment was another very important part of this triangle, where gait analysis is one corner. But of course you have to be careful with the physical assessment. We spent a long time discussing how what you see on the couch, or what you see when they're moving around, what you see when they're standing on one leg, may well be not what you see when they're on the treadmill. The whole thing about the physical assessment in the case history is writing stuff down, recording what happens, and then once you've done the gait analysis, putting the jigsaw piece together. And even then, you might not have all the pieces to the jigsaw. But the idea behind gait analysis is to gather as many pieces as you can to then give worthwhile advice. Okay, to give the runner something to try, to test. Hopefully it will work. Hopefully you've had enough pieces of the jigsaw to give a good suggestion, but it might not, in which case we try plan B. A good example of physical assessment is this whole idea of screening. Okay, this idea that Unfortunately, the way a person reacts when they're doing a single leg squat is the same way they're going to react when they're standing on one leg when they're running. Unfortunately, the research shows it's not. Okay. Plenty of people, for example, may have their knee turning in, internal rotation, when they're standing on one leg. But when they're running and the nervous system has something else to do, the context is changed, that internal rotation may not happen. They may even have knee varus instead of valgus. So one of my big goals of training this team in Nairobi was to make sure that they become critical thinkers, that they don't jump down rabbit holes, presuming as soon as they see something. For example, the Thomas test was another one. We had some physios on the course. We had physios, running coaches. We had people who were just new to the industry but keen to learn. And the physios were all familiar with Thomas test. Were they familiar with the research which shows that what happens during the Thomas test, when you put somebody on a couch and you allow them to drop their leg over the edge, basically it's a test of available flexibility in the hip. Were they aware that this may not carry through to running? The research shows clearly that a lot of runners, when you put them on a couch and you do the Thomas test, they may well not show any restriction at all. The leg just falls over the edge and you think, this person has fantastic flexibility, hip extension. And yet when you see them running, suddenly they turn into an anterior pelvic tilt and you're confused. And you're thinking, well, what's going on there? And yet the research shows that a lot of runners will slip into an anterior pelvic tilt for no reason at all. Just because that's the decision the nervous system has decided to take in the context of running. So anyway, I'm rattling on. I don't know how long I'll make these talks in future, but basically, to start summing up, I went to Kenya with the preconception that everybody knew how to run, that they were born to run, as the title of the book shows, and I was wrong, okay, because once again, you can't generalize over any collection of people. I generalized terribly over Kenyans, and I realized that, guess what, they're individuals, like all of us. And they all need to be treated as individuals the same way as runners need to be treated as individuals when you put them on the treadmill or when you watch them on the track. We had a great time learning about gait analysis, but hopefully I walked away having shown them that gait analysis is just one part of the jigsaw, and you need to make sure you've done your case history thoroughly, and you need to make sure you've done your physical assessment, and you need to make sure that you don't jump to any conclusions. So there we go, that's all I wanted to say. I've got some clients coming into the clinic soon. We'll try and make this a regular thing maybe on Sundays if people enjoy it. And we can talk about, well, I can talk about anything forever. But if there's anything you'd like us to talk about in relation to running performance or running injuries, then I'll generally be here kind of around 9:30 and we'll have a chat. So thank you, my first two people who are watching, Hayden and Matt. How are you doing, Matt? Nice to see you. Well, not see you, but nice to know that you're with me. I hope you're well, mate. And hope you've enjoyed what I've talked about. If you've got any comments, then leave them down there. If there's anything that other people who watch this later on want to hear about, then add some comments, and we'll do this same time next Sunday, maybe. Until then, enjoy, and remember that we're all individuals. There we are. That's the message for today. Out.